Community was so big in my world.
Yeah.
Like it changed the trajectory of my career as a kid in Cleveland. I don't think I ever thought I would be in a Marvel movie. Like, that's crazy. There's a finite amount of time, and that doesn't make me want to hustle more, because nothing that we have, nothing that we amass goes with us. I feel like a lot of the Hollywood stuff is so fake. This is going to sound absolutely crazy.
Hi, Yvette.
Hi, Arlan.
This is the first time we're meeting each other in person.
In person. We have done a lot of Janet Jackson work online together, but never this, which is pretty exciting.
I mean, I've seen you on my television and movies for I don't know how long.
Oh.
And then to share that love of Janet. But Janet loves you.
You
That's
know
a little bit of a difference. Janet loves you.
She probably loves you too. Y'all had a nice conversation about the truck.
Janet likes me. I think she likes me, but I think she loves you.
Let me tell you something. The fact that I can say without hyperbole that I think she's my friend now is pretty exciting.
Yes.
Like, she's, and you know this because you got to talk to her, she's exactly what we thought she was.
Yes.
Like, you know, sometimes they say don't meet your heroes, but I was like, well, you're really as nice as I always thought you would be.
Super. I don't want to say down to earth, because I do think she's, you know, on a different plane, but I think she is so right there. She's so present. She's so present.
Absolutely. And I do, you know, I would say that I think she's down to earth, because you imagine the way she grew up and how, you know, the way the spotlight has always been on her. The fact that she's able to even connect with people that didn't grow up that way shows that she's down to earth to me. You know what I mean?
And she always has time.
Always.
She has time for people. Like, her people have to pull her away. And I like that.
I'm going to say this. There's never been a time that I've texted her that she has not texted me back almost
Okay, we're going to do
immediately.
the slow. Let's back up a little bit. So we're going to do the slow flex, the soft flex. There's never been a time
when I've texted my friend Janet Jackson where she hasn't texted me back immediately. Like, it's like, not immediately, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, she don't leave you on red.
Yes.
You know, because the thing is, she's always checking to make sure you're okay, and do you need anything? Like, how are you over in London or preparing a tour, and you have time to say, or how's your heart, or how you doing, you know? She's just lovely.
I agree. And it's so, because they say don't meet your heroes.
That's what they say. I say meet them.
Yeah.
I say go meet them.
Why does she mean so much to you?
You know, it probably mirrors the reason that you love her. You know, she and Kim Fields were really the only version of myself that I saw when I was a kid, right? So it was Good Times and Different Strokes and Facts of Life for me as a kid, and it was Janet and it was Kim. And Janet, both of them, but we're speaking of Janet, she just looked like me, and I'm not flexing like I think I look like Janet, but I'm saying,
I was thinking that when we were sitting here, I was thinking you, in person, you look like Janet. You could be in her family.
That's nice.
You really do.
But I'm saying, like, she looks like us. Like, she was a little brown-skinned girl, you know, that looked like us. She had hair like us, little face like us, and I just thought, wow, like, I saw myself in her, right?
Yes.
And then through the years, her music just, the Rhythm Nation album, forget it. You know, it just, that album was when I was in, I think, my first year, like last year of high school, first year of college, when that one came out. And I loved Control as well, but something about Rhythm Nation, just the things that she was talking about and what she wanted for the world and fighting injustice. Like, I'm like, oh my God, her heart is solid too. And all the Jacksons, all of them are just lovely human beings. My God.
And New Agenda knocked me out. I mean,
stop it. Just stop.
But New Agenda still to this day, obviously, very relevant. But I listen to that song on headphones before I'm about to go on stage, try to affect people,
absolutely,
to change things.
Absolutely.
It's just so, there's just so, I mean, we could talk about this.
This could be a podcast about Janet. And this is the thing too, we don't have a lot of people doing music that makes you think anymore. You know, when Marvin Gaye was out, he was doing his stuff. Janet is like another person that came up and said, no, let's talk about homelessness. Let's talk about what's happening. She was talking about school shootings long before anybody was talking about school shootings. You know, I just think she's lovely.
As someone who is her friend,
buddy.
I'm
a buddy. Okay, yes.
What I kind of picked up on, you know, we didn't spend a lot of time, but I picked up on she doesn't like you to kind of, she wants you to be real with her.
Absolutely.
So it's just like you want to have like a real conversation.
Absolutely.
Including if you want to make fun a little bit, or if you want to be like, oh, look at you trying to do that. Is that how she kind of...
I agree. I think that she I think that she's completely regular. I know that sounds weird, but you know, as you move through Hollywood, I know you've met a lot of people at this point. Some people are real people, and then some people come in as, well, hello, you know, and I'm East Cleveland, you know,
so
and
you're real as they come.
Janet is Gary, Indiana. Like, it doesn't matter that she's Janet Jackson. She's just a regular human being that's just kind and regular and real. Like, I think if you came at her glorifying her or fawning over her, I think that would make her like, oh, what are you doing? Like, let's just have this, you know? And I feel the same way. I'm nowhere near as well known as she is, but when I meet people, I want to, let's get it, how your mama doing? Like, let's have a real conversation. And I don't need all the, oh my God, I don't need that stuff. Like, just have a real conversation.
But do you also feel, this is how I feel, I'm going to ask you if you feel.
Yes.
Do you feel that you're sort of, you don't get the just props that you deserve?
Me?
Yes.
I don't think I need any. I've never. It's funny about me. When I came to LA, and when I started to pursue this career as an actor, I wanted to do one commercial and one sitcom. I was like, if I can do that, like if I can find a way to do that, I will have achieved the biggest dream little me ever dreamed of. Right. So I'm already so far beyond that dream that who am I to be like, well, I think people should. I ain't never in my life thought about winning awards or thinking I deserved awards or thinking that people should know who I am. I never in my life will say, don't you know who I am? I don't even know who I am half the time. You know what I mean? Aside from Yvette from East Cleveland. So no, I don't think there's any just due that I need, you know, because the other side of it is, Arlan, everything that I have, God gave me. Everything that I do through the power of the Lord. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. So my thing is, thank you, Jesus, for giving me an opportunity. And so who am I to go, this isn't enough, Lord? Like, I feel like that's a little greedy. For
a long time, before I knew I was going to do the video version of Your First Million, I had you on the number one person on the list to do a different podcast that I do.
Really?
It's called The Mystifying Faith. And it's,
we could.
So we still can. It's still out there.
I want to get into the.
So I'm an atheist.
Are you?
And I'm going around and interviewing people of different faiths and getting really into it.
I freaking love it. I freaking love it.
I love it. It's one of my favorite projects I've ever done. So maybe we can do that, because
I would love it.
I mean, your character on Community, which is the first. It's not the first time I ever saw you, but it was the first time I saw you kind of over time. Was also someone who was like faith-based. And
Shirley was a little more.
She was a little
judgy. She was judgy though. Like I hope that the Christian that I am is one that loves and accepts. And because this is the thing about Jesus that I always tell people, when people are like, oh, Christians are like this, I'm like, Jesus told us to love. That's all he told us to do. When they broke down the commandments and said, what is the most important? He said, love God, love yourself, and love your neighbor like yourself. He didn't say, tell people who going to hell. He didn't say, he didn't say none of that. Christians, human beings, decided that they're going to be the judge and jury of people. I ain't got nothing in me that knows where anybody, I don't even know for sure that I'm getting in.
Right.
So who am I to tell somebody else?
And is that something you share? I mean, to go back to Janet, Janet has,
she's a person
in
of faith,
recent years, she's talked a lot about that. And she doesn't talk about it a lot, but she kind of.
If you look at her posts on Instagram and stuff, like, she's definitely a person of faith.
And a thank you message, she'll talk about that. So I'm sure y'all can talk about that.
I think it's just like, this is the thing. You can, it all for me comes down to heart people. Right? And it almost goes beyond whatever your faith is. You meet someone and they're either a heart person or they're not. Because it doesn't matter what set you claim. Even the Bible says you will know them by their love, right? So if you're saying that you love Christ or you love Allah or you don't believe God exists, but you move through life with love, I feel like you are honoring who Christ told us to be. It's the people that claim Christ and are hateful that make me go, because that's not him. Now, you can call a spade, because y'all know if you see me on Twitter, I throw some elbows, and I believe
I see you on Twitter.
I believe in letting somebody listen.
See you on Twitter.
Arlan, when somebody is foul, I let them know they're foul, or if they're playing around, I let them know they're playing around. But as I move through life, I try to move through life in love, because that's what Christ told me to do.
You protect yourself and others on Twitter and other places. And
I do.
You're not afraid. You don't care if you're on the red carpet. You don't care if you're going to lose a bag.
Sure don't.
I'm going to say what's right, what's real.
Because this is the thing. I believe that every gift that you're given, every perfect gift that you're given is from God, right? That's what I believe. And so he gives you a platform for a purpose. So for him to give me all these followers or opportunities to talk to you, and I don't talk about what matters, what's it for? There ain't a bag on the earth that's worth more than speaking truth to power when you need to. I believe, like John Lewis said, it's important to get in good trouble. So I throw elbows.
Yeah.
And if I lose everything, but at the end of the day, I was on the right side of history, take it. I don't even need it.
Has it cost you anything, material?
Not that I noticed. Because I also shop at Target and Macy's. So what material do I need?
Well, I say, be yourself so the people looking for you can find you.
So they can find you.
So that's what's happening. You're finding those opportunities. Now let's talk about the frugalness, I'll call it.
Let's do it.
Because I just picked up on that because you were on this. I know it wasn't as fancy as what we have here.
This is the nice setup you have here. Don't disparage this setup.
But I'm not disparaging. But I will say you were just on Jennifer Hudson.
I was.
Recently. We'll say it because we don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
But you were talking about how you joked. I think it was a half joke that you probably still have pieces of your first check.
Oh, that ain't even a joke. I'm pretty sure I do.
So is that you feel that that's that's a healthy way of like taking care of your money you save?
Absolutely. I believe that, and this is what I tell younger actors or new actors when they come in the industry, you should always live below your means, right? Mm-hmm. And so I tell them the easiest way to do it is to live a step below where you are in the industry. So if you're a series regular, live like a guest star. If you're a guest star, live like a co-star. If you're a co-star, live like a stand-in or a background actor. Don't buy anything that person wouldn't buy. Don't go anywhere that person wouldn't go. If you live like that, you're always going to be okay. Like in my life, and I don't know if there's any wood, I've never bounced a check in my life. I know where all of my money is. I am a good steward over my money because this is the thing. I grew up, poor in East Cleveland, single family home, my mother and my brother. And because she was in the 70s raising kids, sometimes bill collectors were calling the house. And sometimes, maybe the lights were off because she had to juggle some money to make sure that she had the gas on because it was winter. So better to have some heat than light for this moment. And I respected that she had to do what she had to do. But there's something within me that's Pavlovian. The idea of a phone ringing and somebody asking me for something I don't have.
Cheers.
I can't. Like, if I owe you, you getting paid. Here, take this money. So I always make sure that I have enough so that I can take care of everything that concerns me. And also there's enough overflow to bless the charities that I believe in, to help a friend if they're going through. All of this stuff matters. Like even with the parking situation before I came in, it's like I had to find I couldn't valet because of COVID, and I take care of my dad. So I can't have just anybody in my car. I don't know who it is. So I have to find a place to park. And then as I'm circling trying to find a place to park, it was over the $10 10-minute limit where you get out for free. So did I pay the $250? I did not, because I didn't park here.
Oh, so
I pressed the button and I said, hey guys, I was circling for 11 minutes. So 1 minute, I'm over that 10, but I'm gonna need y'all to come let me out of here without this $250 because I'm not paying for something I didn't use. That $250 5 months from now might be the difference between me and a meal for my dad.
And let's be clear here, you work. When they came up with the phrase "booked and busy," it was for you, next to your name,
thank the Lord,
right?
Thank the Lord.
So it's not that you feel like you're going to run out anytime soon. It's that you're truly. This is a doctrine for you. This is something that is really important to you.
You have to be responsible. I'm not someone that thinks. I know how hard it is to get $1. I know how hard it is to keep $1. I know what that dollar can do, not just for me, but for others. So I can give $250 to a parking structure for parking I didn't use, or I can take that $250 and give it to Donors Choose with some other money and bless a classroom. I would rather bless a classroom. So I'm very strategic in where the money goes. I'm not tight. I'm not a miser. I'm not stingy. I'm very generous, but I choose the things that I want to bless.
That's
I don't
very
waste
important.
money.
And it is important to do what you have your own style.
Absolutely.
Because I'm really afraid to show you my DoorDash account.
No, don't be. Is it coming to you? Is it coming? You use it a lot?
I use DoorDash like it's a calculator.
So do I. But that's the thing. Time is money, right?
Yes, it is.
So if I've worked a 12-hour day, I can either spend an hour and a half in the kitchen cooking dinner for me and my dad, or I can order food and spend that time, that hour and a half with my dad and have dinner when they bring it to my door.
That's right.
So it's always about, again, it's not about the money, it's about the experience that money provides. So I would much rather, like you, have food delivered than slave over a stove if that cuts into time that I can spend with my people.
And I think the point is, it's our money. It's your money.
To use
so
how you
do
want.
It the way that you want.
Absolutely.
But I do love that because you don't hear a lot of people in entertainment talk about frugality.
Because everybody's trying to show up for the gram.
Yeah.
They're doing it for the gram.
Yeah.
Like, you can't talk about frugality and a Bentley in the same breath.
Yeah.
Right?
Let me talk to you about this topic, because this has been interesting to me. We had Grammy weekend a little while ago, Super Bowl a little bit ago. Everybody wants to be at these places, at least because I live in LA and it's kind of there, but also the Silicon Valley people want to be there, and the New York people want to be there, Atlanta people want to be there. I don't trade in FOMO, like that's like a very specific thing, but let's be real.
Okay.
Has there been something have you been at a place recently where it's like the coolest place to be, but you have seen somebody else's post and like, why didn't they invite me?
You know what? I don't have FOMO. I'm an introvert, so I'm going to start there. So there is very rarely an event that happens that I wish I was at.
Okay. In general.
In general, because I really do prefer to be at home with my dog and my dad. I'm a nester.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like a lot of the Hollywood stuff is so fake.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's not a real connection with people that are showing up as their real selves. Everybody's sending their representative, and their representative is always one of the cool kids. And I've never been one of the cool kids. I have no desire to be one of the cool kids. So for me, I don't want to go and be fake with y'all for 3 hours and then catch the COVID. And then catch the COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be home. So there's very rarely a moment. There are moments recently where someone's had a heart experience, like a milestone moment in their lives. And I've had a moment where I was like, Dad, why wasn't I invited to that maybe housewarming or that wedding or that baby shower? Like, I feel FOMO when it comes to things like that. Now, that said, I probably wouldn't go anyway.
That's right.
But I would send a gift, and I would want to be a part of marking the occasion in that way, right? So it's that feeling of where I probably won't go, but I would like to be invited.
Yeah,
but that's family heart stuff with people that I consider friends. I don't look at any Grammy party and go, I wish I was at that Grammy party, or look at a premiere and go, I wish I was at that premiere. It's never happened, and it probably never will.
And you know what it was.
I know what it is. I know that it's usually rubber chicken, and a lot of people. You ever had the experience where you're talking to somebody at a party and they're doing this? Where they've decided
all the time.
Right. So they've decided you're fine, but that might be someone more important, and I want to get over there. I don't want to do that. I don't want people looking over my shoulder. Go and talk to the person.
Here's what I experience more often, because people don't really know me. In a lot of situations, they know me in tech, but they don't know me in a lot of situations. Here is I'll go into places, I dress like this. This is how I dress.
I love it too.
And they'll totally ignore me, or they'll not have the time of day, and then somebody who is somebody will say, "Oh, you know what she does," and
and then it's like, "Oh my God!"
Like, yeah, it happened, and I'm just like, no. And so I always love to find the person who was cool to me before that little sentence was said. Absolutely, and that's the person I kind of kick it with,
hang with for the rest of the party. Same way.
Yeah.
I was on a red carpet once, and somebody was, I can't remember if they were about to interview me or they were interviewing me. And they were, because people on the carpet, the reporters do it too. They look over to see who's coming down the carpet. And the person was talking to me, and then they looked like this. And I turned and I said, would you prefer? Would you prefer her? Let me get her for you.
Whoa.
And I left, and I said, you know what? She really would like to talk to you. And I brought her over. It was a friend of mine, and I brought her over, and I said, you guys have a nice interview. Take care. No. Oh, no. You got what you need. And I'm going down here and keep talking to everybody. And there's no ego in it for me. Like, I don't care if you want to talk to somebody else. Like, let me make you happy.
Yeah.
Because
your time is wasted.
Yeah, but you know what the funny thing is, I don't know if I'm even thinking of it like my time is wasted, but it's like there's a certain experience that you would like to have, and I'm not it. So I want you to have the experience you really want to have. So I'm going to get that person for you. Because what we're not going to do is sit here and you treat me like chopped liver. Now, I do love me enough to not sit here and have you looking over my shoulder. So I'm going to get you what you need, and I'm going to get on out of here.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be out here all this time, no way.
Well, let's talk about a little bit of all the we can't talk about all the shows you've been on because then we wouldn't have time. We would not have. But what are some of the highlights for you personally that that have stood out to you, even if they weren't full seasons or full?
Of course, Avengers Endgame is big for me, just because as a kid in Cleveland, I don't think I ever thought I would be in a Marvel movie. Like, that's crazy. So of course that's huge for me. There's a really sweet show called The Mayor with
the guys,
Brandon Michael Hall was the star, and Marcel Spears and Bernard David Jones. they made that experience so wonderful for me. We are still close. We still do group chats, and we'll get on FaceTime, all of us together, and we became family on that show. And so it only lasted 13 episodes. I have my reasons or beliefs of why I didn't go as long as
it wasn't really
gone.
promoted well.
It was the way it was promoted was not the truth of what the show was.
Okay.
And I will go to my grave saying that.
Yeah.
It was really a family show with me and the guys. And they presented it as if it was something else on bus ads and such.
Yeah.
So I
The
think
Hip Hop
people
Chronicles.
Yeah, I think people didn't tune in because they didn't know what the show was, and had they known what it was, I think we would have still be on today.
Yeah.
So that's one that matters. And of course, community was so big in my world.
Yeah.
Like it changed the trajectory of my career in the same way that Drake and Josh did, and Girlfriends did when I did those shows. So there's a lot of different things, and then there's one coming. Not to make this a promo of my life, but there's a show called Act Your Age that's coming up, and it's me and Tisha Campbell and Kim Whitley. That is
What?
Arlan. It's going to be so great. It's like for us, by us, for us, by us. Allison Faust is an amazing sister who created the show, and it is going to be very funny and very fun, and everybody's going to love it. Not just black folk, everybody's going to love the show.
Do you know when it comes out? Or
Yeah,
what
we
it's on?
debut. Yeah, it's going to be on Bounce Network, and Bounce is on your TV. Let me look in the camera.
Yeah.
Bounce is on your TV right now. You just got to go to do it like a check your local listings, and you'll figure out what channel it is. But we're debuting March 4th on Bounce.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's coming up. It's coming up.
Okay, that's like right now. That's amazing.
Right now.
That's amazing.
Right now.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I gotta just tell you a little bit about Community.
Let's do it.
It's a little weird. but
Okay.
I don't know if you've
I
heard.
love
this.
weird. Weird
Well,
is
it's a little
great.
weird. So I was in Portland, Oregon. And I was it was before the fund, before all of that. It was during the very light, times. And I was in a relationship, and the relationship was abusive
Oh no.
in different ways.
Yeah, understood.
And I would kind of anchor myself by doing two things. And as I said, it's going to be a little weird. So two things. I would write a line in a journal, in a draft in my email, to tell me what happened that day, so I could look back on it to prove to myself that there was abuse happening.
Yes, because you get gaslit and all that. Yeah.
And the second thing I would do to anchor myself was to watch episodes of Community from the beginning, because I discovered it on Hulu, and I would just watch 2 or 3 episodes at night by myself, kind of watching it as like, okay, this storyline, I'm kind of going into the storyline with it, and that's going to make it okay tonight, and that's going to make it okay tonight.
Oh my God.
And I have never said that. Not once have I said that.
Thank you for sharing that with me. Like that is.
So that's where I came upon your work, in earnest.
That I've heard through the years what Community has meant to people for different reasons, right? But this is the most profound thing I've ever heard about what Community has done, because I'm looking in your eyes and I can see that this was a serious, tough season for you.
Yes.
And to hear that our shenanigans, and we had a good time doing that show, that our shenanigans helped you through means everything to me, because that is what we're supposed to be doing this for. That's what you're doing this podcast for. That's what your books are for. That's what I act for, what my activism is for. It's so people can feel like they're not alone, that they're seen, and that it's going to get better.
Yes.
That's all it's about.
Yes.
Right? So thank you for sharing that with me, and I'm glad we could be there for you. Like
Thank you. It was escapism at its best. It was so clever too. Yeah. And it was just I don't know why it found me at that time, but
because it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Because it was meant to be.
Yeah. So that was wonderful. And just watching. I mean, I can't go a week without something, and you're there. You know what I loved recently that you did? It wasn't super recent, but kind of recent, was Mom.
Oh,
I love that arc for you. That was so good, because it was a very strong character. It was very, and it seemed like it was fun to be around that group.
It was so fun, and I learned so much. So many acting. I steal from actors.
Okay.
Not physical, not actual material things, but I steal all of their tricks and whatnot.
Yeah.
And everyone on that show, every actress on that show, every actor on that show as well, because a couple guys, are at the top of what they do. Mimi Kennedy, I say this all the time. Mimi Kennedy is the best person with props I have ever seen. Mimi Kennedy had a scene, I'll never forget this scene. And her character on the show had a lot of cats in her house, and there was a scene in the house, and the cats are moving around, and she's in her kitchen, and she's got a big back and forth with Alice and Janney. And when I tell you, she went and got some cereal and a bowl and a spoon and milk, and she got it every single time at exactly the same. I swear she was pouring the same amount of cereal in the bowl every single time. The spoon picked up the red Fruit Loop instead of the blue every time. And she never missed a beat acting. And I don't have that gift. Like when I get on set, I'm like, don't give me nothing. I don't want to carry nothing. I don't want to open nothing. Just want to just do my lines and get out of here. But she made me want to be better at prop work, you know. So there's little things like that for each of them that I learned doing Mom. It's just a brilliant show, well written, well acted. Yeah. Everyone was kind. It was a good time.
Is there anything you want to do that you haven't done? I think Abbott Elementary is one of them.
Yeah, I listen.
But I would imagine they have talked to you at this
They ain't said nothing to me. Quinta ain't said. I saw Quinta last week. I said, Quinta, stop playing around. Let me go and be on this show. That jokes aside, she is crafting an amazing story, and I do believe if there's ever a chance where I can come in and help the story she's doing get to the next step, she will call me. But I just want her to know you're available. I'm available.
But I think, with Abbott Elementary, it's going to be a 6-season plus.
Absolutely.
thing.
So there's no rush.
It's going to be exactly when it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
But it's going to be exactly when it's supposed to.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. This is going to sound absolutely crazy, but I am not ambitious. I don't do 5-year plans. I don't do 10-year plans. I don't have, if I do a vision board, only thing on it is peace. Like I'll put a picture of like a bird or, a beautiful bed because I'm a napper. Oh, I love to nap.
Yes.
So my goals in life, all I want in life is peace and contentment. However that comes. If that comes because I'm on a great show working with great people and I can go home every night going, I had a good day at work. Or if that's because I had, a great meal delivered from DoorDash.
Mm-hmm. We're not getting paid by DoorDash.
We're not, but we say let me throw Postmates up in there.
Postmates
and Instacart.
Uber
Instacart.
Dumpling.
Yeah, so there's just not. I don't stress myself out about the list of what I wanted to do. There are certain people that I want to meet.
I would love to hear
right?
That.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
There's certain experiences that I want to have. But as far as a list of like, I want to win an Oscar. I just don't think like that. My brain doesn't work like that.
Different than it used to be? Did you evolve into
Always
that?
been this way.
Yeah.
Always been this way. I'm just not greedy. And I'm not saying that having ambition is greedy, but in my mind, I'm so blessed already. Yeah. Like I don't need more than this. Like I get to the point sometimes where I'm like, this too, God? Like, you know what I mean? Like, thanks. Like, but what am I going to do with this? That's why I'm always trying to find places to deploy the things that I've been blessed to get. My opportunities. There's never been a time I've heard about an audition that I haven't called everybody that looks like me and go, they looking for us, girl. Go.
Really?
Because I feel like things come to you not just for you.
I've never heard this.
Never,
before.
no.
Never heard
always do it.
Say that.
Always, because
you call people.
I will call my friends.
For a role that you're going
I
for.
will say they looking for us. I just got a call about this. They are looking for us. This is the casting director. And even if I'm auditioning, like say I come out of the room, I tell there's 5 people up in there. They don't laugh at the first couple of jokes. You might have to work a little harder on that. Because the thing is, I lose nothing by sharing what I have because it's either for me or it's not. And sometimes you find out about stuff because you're supposed to tell somebody.
Yes.
It came to me so I could tell Sally because it was always Sally's. So if she gets it, it was hers. Who am I to be a miser and go, I ain't gonna tell nobody about this audition. That doesn't guarantee you're gonna get it anyway.
Does that come back to you?
Always. I've never been hungry. I've never been, without a roof over my head. I've never been without a friend I can call when I need them. You know what I'm saying? And when things go bad for me, people find me to make sure I'm okay. And in my mind, that's all life is supposed to be. This amassing things or stabbing people in the back to get ahead, stepping on people's necks to get ahead, I don't understand it. And I also don't believe that there's not enough to go around.
Yes.
That need to control other people and keep other people from things that you think is yours, that's all about you thinking there's not enough. And that's a lie. There's more than enough for everybody. And it would make me so happy to be the reason that somebody got something. I would just be like, oh man, I called her for that.
Yeah.
I told her about that. That's a good feeling.
For some reason, I'm thinking about Laura Linney. And what I observe just as anybody else, as she seems to be a connector. She seems to put her people together, and it sounds like that's what you do. So there are probably things that have happened that we don't even know that you helped catalyze. But you don't necessarily want the credit for it.
I hope.
But that sounds like what's happening there. And I love that role too. I love, that's what I say, catalyzing every single day.
Yeah, because Arlan, how much do we really need? When you think about it, like I think people, there's no gold star for amassing the most stuff and the most money at the end. Now, on this earth, people, the capitalist society that we live in, they say, yes, you should have as much as you can. And I'm not saying that you should turn down money if you can make it. But at the same time, when you have to go the extra step and be rotten to someone to get the next thing, why? I don't understand it. I have more than enough right now. And if God blesses me with more, He's given me more so that I can pass it on. I always think about the idea of when you're like this, you get to hold what you have, but nothing else can get in, and you're not blessing anyone. If you're like this, you still get to hold stuff, but there's still stuff that can flow through to other people. And wouldn't it be better to be a fountain that feeds other people instead of a stagnant lake? You ever seen a fountain that ain't working?
Oh, yeah.
Where the water just there and it's all, any coins have been thrown in, they all rusty at the bottom and there's little algae floating. It's disgusting. But when the water is springing everywhere, people get to walk by and go, oh, look at that. You can see the wonder of it. I'd rather be a fountain for people.
Yes,
you know?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because it's so evident that that's what you are.
Oh.
That's why I love it so much, because it's not just a pretty turn of words.
Thank you.
You know? Can we talk a little bit about your parents?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I just,
where's the tissue? No,
no, I do. I just really do want to, because I've observed, again, a lot of observing that I do. But I've seen, for instance, the links you'll take to protect your father and with him, and I saw with your mother. You said you were raised in a single family.
Yeah.
Did your relationship with your dad happen later?
No, my dad and my mom got divorced when I was 1, but my dad was always there. He just wasn't in the house.
Oh, I see.
So me and my brother would go, I think, like every weekend or every other weekend, we would go to my dad's apartment. So he was always there, and then when I was maybe 14, is when we got thicker than thieves, where it was like he would pick me up and we would go to movies, and because we both love music, we both love movies, we would go to restaurants, and so he became my buddy. Like, my dad is very wise. Even he has dementia now, so it's a little harder, but dementia is so unwieldy in the way it ebbs and flows. Some days he's 100%, and then other days it's 30 or 70. I take it however I can get it because I just love him so much. But before he got dementia, the wisest man I'd ever met. He has studied every religion. He's very well read, like just a wonderful human being. And so when I was in my most awkward phase and just didn't understand life and how things were going, and my mother was great with this as well, but my dad's perspective on what life was really about and how we should move through life was invaluable. And so when he got sick and it was his time of need, that's why I didn't do the last season of Community, because the hours of that show was not conducive to me caring for him. And so it was not a hard decision to be like, this has been great and I've loved working with you guys, but my dad needs me, so I got to go there.
That was probably almost a decade ago. Does it take a toll on you? And I'm asking as like one
as a
caretaker to the next. Does that take a toll on you?
You know what? If it's taking a toll, I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it might be taking a toll on my body in a way that I don't know. There have been some career things that I've had to say no to. Yeah. I don't care. Yeah. Like if it's a choice between career advancement or caring for my father is going to win every single time. Yeah. So that part, but I'll say this too, whatever toll it's taken, what I've learned being a caregiver is way better than whatever being a caregiver has taken away. Yeah. You learn patience, you learn kindness, more kindness. I hope I was kind before. You learn how to create joy. You know how to calm someone who's confused or scared. You know what I mean? Like I can see when he's scared, or there's some moments that I know that he doesn't fully know exactly who I am. Like he always knows I'm his, but he doesn't know the context. Like, is this my sister? Is it my, his brain is like that sometimes. And so I learn how to move within that and make sure that he's okay.
Yeah. There's a spoiler alert coming because I'm just thinking of this, but it's Robert Downey Jr. did a documentary about his father recently.
Did he?
Oh, it's called Senior, and it's on Netflix.
I gotta watch.
It's actually, so yeah, like spoiler alert, I don't know necessarily, but there is a moment. I'll say there is a moment where his father is ill, and just for a split second, I mean, just like your dad, sharp, but for a split second, he in his bed tells Robert Downey Jr. that his son is a great guy. And the way that, I mean, it's filmed really well, and it's very loose, so they just captured it.
Yeah.
The way he responded to it.
I gotta see it.
It just got me. It touched me in such a strong way, because you think you're not, I'm going to do this to myself, you think you're not strong enough for something like that. But it turns out we are strong enough.
It turns out you are. I had here I go. The thing that I always said to people was, as long as he always knows me, I'll be okay. And last week was the first time that I went in the room and he said, I'm sorry. He said, I forgot your name. And I was like, it's okay, Daddy, I'm Yvette. And that was like the first time it had happened. And he was so apologetic because he knew I was his. He knew I was his, but he just couldn't grab the name. And so I'm glad it happened in the sense that it's gonna happen. Like that's the progression of this disease. And we survived it.
Yes.
And I smiled and I didn't let him know how sad it made me. And not sad because he didn't know me, but sad because it means the disease is progressing. And, I lost my mom, and I'm nervous about when I'm going to lose him, and he's 80. I know I'm going to lose him. So it's just, but that's what life is. And this is what I learned. You didn't ask this, but this is what I've learned about grief, and WandaVision teaches it as well. The grief you feel is equal to the love. So when you are torn up at the loss of someone, you should rejoice, because that means you were loved good and you loved good. So I would much rather cry at the loss of my mother and grieve her and preemptively grieve what it's going to be like to lose my dad, because that means that I had good parents, So, that is what it is. It's life.
Do we have a tissue, anyone?
Just one back there. Thank you, guys.
Rook. Yes.
And here's the great equalizer moment of it all. We're all going to, thank you. We are all going to die. And I imagine that for some people hearing that, why would she say that? Or, oh, it's horrible. It's actually not. True. The realization that everybody is going to die always makes me feel better. No matter what I'm going through. If I miss out on a job and it was one that I wanted to do, or break up with some knucklehead guy that doesn't realize how amazing I am, I just always think to myself, we all gonna die anyway.
There's a finite amount of time.
There's a finite amount of time, and that doesn't make me want to hustle more. It makes me actually want to relax and settle in more, and to have more moments like this, and to have more moments with friends, because nothing that we have, nothing that we amass goes with us. And I learned this when I was a lot younger. My grandmother was in hospice before she passed, and I was like in college, I think, and I went to visit her. As I'm walking down the hallway, I'm passing all these rooms, and I didn't hear anybody say, can you pull my Rolls Royce up to the window so I can see it? Or bring my Louis Vuitton bag in here, I want to marvel at it. Show me my bank account statement, I want to look at how many zeros are in there. Every single room I walked by, somebody was like, is my daughter here yet? Did my husband say, can you call my sister? At the end of their lives, everybody wanted their people, and we spend our entire lives forsaking our people to get things. We got it. It's wrong. It's flip it. So learning that at a very young age, I've carried it. So things are nice. It's nice to have a cute bag or a nice pair of shoes, but they don't define me, you know? And I see money as a means to an end. It creates safe spaces for you and experiences, but it is not the be all and end all. And the Bible itself says the love of money, I think it's 1 Timothy 6:10. The love of money is the root of all evil. Not money. The love of money.
People misquote that.
People
every
misquote it all the time. God ain't got no problem with you having some things. He cattle on 1,000 hills, have at it. But don't love it. Again, going back to what Jesus said, love God, love yourself, and love your neighbor as yourself. Where's money in there? Did he say love all the ducats? He did not. So
He also said not to be envious.
he did. Didn't he say that? Don't covet? Huh?
Does your faith, I mean, it has to, your faith help you through times like...
Man, I couldn't. The only reason I marvel when someone says they're an atheist is that I can't imagine doing this without my anchor. And that's why I want to have the other conversation with you further. I see my entire life through the lens of purpose and calling and, you know, using everything that he's put in me to make other people's lives better, right? And I know you live the same way. So, but for me, it all funnels through whatever I feel like he in the great beyond decided I was going to be when he said, these are going to be your parents. This is what you're going to look like. This is where, because I even think the reason that I have an apple head, go with me. I do have I think the reason I look like so many people is because he wants me to be out in the world and for me to look like somebody's cousin or somebody's sister, so that when I speak to them, there's a knowing that they already feel, right? And so I just feel like all of that was the grand design before I got here. So he's like, what two people can I grab?
Well, to me, it's you look like Janet's sister. That's what you look like.
I'll take it. Where's the camera? I'll take it. Yeah, no, there's no higher. I think she's one of the most beautiful people ever made. So that's a great compliment. Thank you.
Yes. And contrary to everybody's belief when I was younger, I do not have a crush on Janet Jackson.
Why do people think that?
Oh, when I was younger, they thought because I'm super gay, and they thought I had a crush on Janet Jackson. I'm sure. Yeah. Alfred, did you think I had a crush on Janet Jackson?
Of course.
Yeah, I never did.
What did you? So what is it about her for you?
Oh, Janet. Oh man. So when I was 13, I saw her live for the first time, and she helped me everything. It's ironic, and it'll be ironic to you and to her. She helped me understand that the religion I was in was not right.
Wow, what religion were you in?
Jehovah's Witness.
Wow, because they were initially Jehovah's Witnesses too.
But she didn't. It wasn't that. It was that night seeing her live and kind of being exposed to the real world for the first. Here's what it was. I look back.
Did you have to sneak and go?
No. So my mom, we couldn't afford 2 tickets. So my mom surprised me with 1 ticket at 13.
You went by yourself?
She was outside the venue the whole time, freaking out, but she was there. She put some earrings on me so I could look like
a little
16.
older. Yeah.
And I just sat there, and
I love your stories.
I sat there and I was like, but I was there early because I was so excited.
Absolutely.
And there was these 2 teenagers who probably were 16. They were talking, and they were there early, and we started talking, so I felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And then this guy comes up to us, who I had never heard of. He comes up to us and he said, "You all seem like big fans." We're like, "Yeah, of course we are." You know, we were whatever.
Right.
And he said, "Well, how would you like to see the show in the front row?" And I was like, "Wait." I was like, "Don't listen to him. My mom told me about people like him." "No, sir. No, sir. We will not be exchanging tickets." You know, I was doing all the thing because I'm like, he's going to try to steal our tickets. Which were very bad tickets.
Right.
So
I'm leaning in. I want this story.
I was very leery. And he said, "Look, I understand that you don't trust me. Take these tickets. Keep your own tickets.
And take these too.
Just walk with me. And if I'm wrong, if I'm lying to you, what did you waste? A few minutes." And I said, "That sounds reasonable." And I was like running the show now. That sounds reasonable. We're going to go. So we walk and keep walking, and people letting us through. And we keep walking, and people letting us through. And we walk all the way, and they do. We're front row, and we're there.
And he says, "See ya."
It turned out to be Renee Elizondo. At the time.
Yeah.
And he did that with a lot of people, and he, was her, we didn't know that's her husband, that's her husband. And so I saw the show in the front row, It changed my entire life. And what made me know that my personal belief, and this is no shade to anybody who's a witness, including people I care about, I believe it's a cult.
Okay.
And so I do not prescribe to it. I don't put it in the same category as other religions.
Okay.
But what I did was I looked back, and this religion that had told me that gay people were evil, I saw gay men with their children, and they were happy, and people were singing, and I saw black people next to white people singing the same lyrics. I saw this black woman who thousands of people had paid to come see her and know every word of hers.
That's right.
I was like, if this is what's worldly in the real world, I want it.
Yeah.
I want it. And I also thought, how loving is all of this? This is all love. This is what love.
This is what love is supposed to be.
This is love.
Right.
And I'm being told something else.
Yeah.
So I was very critical. I was at 6 years old on the playground. Instead of playing, this is why I'm big. Instead of playing, I was watching people and wondering what their life was like. So I was always in my head. And so this night changed my life in so many different ways.
Wow.
So many different ways.
Which tour was it?
That was the Janet Period tour. It was a Janet Period tour, and I didn't know half of what she was talking about. I was 13. I didn't know half of what she was saying. I was singing these lyrics that, people would...
You probably were 13.
like,
no, wait a minute.
You
better stop. Yeah.
But it was that. So that was happening in the background. But really, what was happening was like, a black woman did this? Oh my God! I can do anything. I can do.
Did you tell her this?
I told her in certain terms. We didn't have enough time for me to tell all this, so I don't know if she knows this whole story. But I talked about it in my book, and I definitely, it is what that's what it is. And so, like, I've been, what is it now, 28 years. I've just been. I started a music magazine when I was in my 20s. I did it because of Janet.
Wow.
I got into live music touring. I worked for Tony Braxton and all kinds of people. I did it because of Janet.
Wow.
I started my fund partially because of Janet Jackson.
Wow.
Partially because of Janet Jackson, because she taught me at 13 that there's, not only can you do anything looking the way you look and being who you are, but you can bring so many people with you. With you. You know the Because of Love video? That video is the very first video I saw it. It's kind of not really a video. It's like a documentary of them being all out there. And I was like, wait, everybody's a different race, and everybody looks different, and people hugging on people, and I think she might be a lesbian. All of these these different things.
Right, you don't know what's, you're looking like, what is this?
So
right.
Interesting. And then it also helped me, of course, come to terms with myself. And then when the Velvet Rope album came out, which blatantly kicked in the door. It was mumbled about in Janet Period, but when it blatantly kicked in the door that being gay was okay. Was more than okay.
Yep.
Thriving.
Yep.
And I got to meet her dancers, and I was just like, oh, so I can be black, I can be a woman, and I can be gay?
Imagine what the world would be like if everybody just loved everybody.
Yeah.
Just loved everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are people on this earth that are evil and out to harm.
Yes.
But that is not based on who they sleep with.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the other thing with religion. I mean, we have, but religion, a lot of religions put that.
Yeah, but you know what you have to remember? Religion is the human experience of God. Spirituality is the true experience with God. Like, I think religion has harmed more people than it has helped.
Yes, I agree with you.
Trusting in God, and in my case, trusting in Jesus, has never harmed anyone. If you are truly following the true teachings of Christ. A lot of people claim him, but they don't love like him, which means they are repelling the people that he would want them to draw. And there's even something in the Bible that says there's going to be some people that get there and go, but I prophesied in your name, and he going to be like, I don't know you. Who are you? Because if you're not loving,
in your heart.
If you're not loving, he doesn't even.
And you asked a little bit earlier, you said you wonder how, or you marvel at how an atheist, how they even just get through life.
Yeah.
I have often said, I am so grateful, for instance, that my mother, I don't really know my brother's take on things right now, so I'm not going to assume it right now, but I'm so grateful that my mother believes in a God. I'm so grateful that she does, because there is no anchor for me.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
If you go through a heartbreak, like something devastating, the rug is pulled out from under you.
Yes.
Or if you lost the money that you needed to make it to the next month.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like when you're in your darkest moment, do you feel that something or someone is concerned about you in that moment, or do you feel like I gotta figure this out?
No, it's definitely, I feel I have to figure it out. I don't feel, when I was younger, I would call out and ask for if there's somebody that's real, please speak to me, and I wouldn't hear anything. I would.
Let me ask you this: you wouldn't hear anything, but would an answer come in anyway? Like,
right, I wouldn't feel. So my friend Minda Hartz, who was the very first guest on Demystifying Faith, who, as she calls herself, a PK, yeah, and she said she was having this talk with me too. And she said, Arlan, do you not understand that all the success you've had comes from him? And that he's speaking through you through that way. And I genuinely do not, but I understand the logic.
Yeah.
I understand the logic of how it feels from that perspective.
This is what I have always, whenever I speak to someone who's not a believer on whatever, if it's atheist or agnostic, or
Yes.
I always say that the prayer that you could pray, and not saying that you have to,
Sure.
but the prayer that you could pray to find out if he exists is simply to say, if you want me to know you're real, show me in some way. Now, the trick to it is, though, not trick's the wrong word.
The key.
The key to it is most likely not going to come to you in the way you expect it's going to come. Like, there's been times when I have cried out, like, Lord, I'll tell the story. I was out here temping because I was afraid I started out as a singer, and then I was afraid to pursue acting, so I was working office temp jobs, and it was around the time that this horrible weather system had come through LA. It was raining like how we just had. It was like raining 40 days and 40 nights. I was on the bus because my car had just broken down, and I was making minimum wage, and I just felt like the biggest loser on the planet. I couldn't get my life together. And I was on the bus, and I was like, Lord, please, like, just show me that you're real. Show me that there's something and I'm waiting for him to go, my child. Like, I'm waiting for this big moment. And on the bus, nothing happened. But as I'm riding on the bus, you know how when they're shooting a show somewhere, they put the little signs up? So as I'm riding on the bus, they were shooting Chicago Hope somewhere. And I guess Chicago Hope was too big to put on the sign. So the letter C and the word hope.
See hope.
See hope. Then as we're driving, there's a Sony billboard that says magic happens. That was their current ad campaign. Magic happens. Then we get downtown where I'm going. I was temping at a investment firm. And downtown, there's a section of streets where one street is here and then also here. The name of that street is Hope Street. So I got off the bus at the wrong place, and I walked into this parking structure, and I'm trying to find 572 Hope Street. And this old black man, it's almost always an old black man when God want to get something. This old black man said, oh, you looking for Hope Street, you got to go higher. You can't get Hope Street down here. The Hope Street, you want hope? You got to go higher. You got to go high, raise up. And I'm sitting here like, now he done told me, see hope, magic happens, and to look up. Yeah. I was like, I got it.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
I got it. And there's been moments like that every step of the way where when I'm at the lowest point and I've said, can you just show me something? I don't ask him to give me money. I don't ask him to even change the circumstance. Can you just meet me here? Because when you're going through something, you don't need somebody to fix it. Just sit with me for a while. Can you just sit with me as I go through this? Can you hold my hand as I go through this? And I have found in my life that every single time I've been at that place and I've asked him, her to show up, they show up.
Yeah.
And what I know for sure about you, from the Janet Jackson concert story you told me, to this life that you've built, the people around you that love you, whether you believe in him or not, he believes in you. And he is bringing floodgates of stuff to you because he knows he can trust you to do what he would want you to do with it. And I think at this stage of your life where you are, I don't know that he's even that concerned that you don't yet believe that he exists.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't stopped you from moving through life in a way that honors everything he would want you to be. He formed you to be this. I'm speaking for him. I love that you this is me.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to wear. This is what my hair is. This is what my you're like, you're going to get the fullness of this. And that is all he wants for any of us, because you being fully you allows other people to be fully them. Mm-hmm. And he has elevated you for that purpose, because he needs you to look like you and do the magical things that you do, so other people can go, I can do that.
Yes.
Because you also have one of them faces where you look like you. You know what I'm saying?
You don't have an apple face? You
got an apple head.
Apple head.
Okay. You ain't got an apple head. You got a nice little head, but you got a face that looks like somebody's cousin. You look like my cousin Roach. You look just like my cousin Roach.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Well, I feel you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's not deep within me. I wouldn't want to pretend that it was.
You don't have to.
But with the podcast, with the Mystifying Faith, that is exactly why I started it. Because I don't know too many atheists who would go around and spend, hours at a time talking to people about their different faiths.
But I think it's so great that you do that. And I think this is a thing a friend of mine said once about God, and it blew my wig back. She said, God is a gentleman. He is never going to force himself on you. He's with you all the time. He rolls through life with you. He still continues to put what you need to get to the next step, but he's never going to kick a door at anybody. You better believe in me.
Yes.
That's not who he is.
Since we're here, and I know we're not doing that podcast, but since we're here, how do you, I don't even, not the word justify, but how do you talk to yourself about the things that are, you say when you're at the lowest points? Why do you think he allows you to get to your lowest points? Why do you think we have just the terrible things that happen?
I feel like I'm going to use the word simulation, but I know that's not exactly right.
I probably will get you.
I feel like this experience is a simulation. I feel like we are spiritual beings having an earthly season of time. And I feel like we stress and go crazy about so many things while we're here, and the whole time God is kind of chuckling, because it's like, you're going to be there for a blink of an eye anyway. If you live to be 102, it's going to be like this by the time you get back up here. And in my mind, I imagine that we're spiritual beings up there with God, and we go, you know what? I would like to know what heartbreak feels like.
And he's like,
I would like to really, I want to really see, I want to have an experience to see if I can survive it, if I can show up, if I am the effervescent, ethereal being that I think I am. I want to go down there and see if I mix it up with other beings who are also going through this simulation where they don't know fully where they came from in the moment. Because we all have an idea, right, of where we came from, but we don't really know, right? And I want to have the experience. And I think for me, when things get rough and tough, I think to myself, I'm here to learn how to survive this. I'm here to learn not to be hateful in the midst of hatefulness. I'm here to learn how to have a conversation with someone who may not believe the way I believe and still be respectful. I'm here to learn how to love. And so to learn how to love and to thrive and to overcome, there has to be things that you have to overcome.
Go through. Yeah.
How can I learn what love is if I don't lose? How can I learn that I am resilient and can survive things if there aren't things that I have to survive? And again, if it's a simulation and we're all gonna die, how serious is any of this really? Because I say this all the time, we are gonna survive everything that happens to us on this life, on this earth, except for one thing.
Yes.
Everything else, every single person is gonna survive.
It's interesting, like the way you think of those two things is actually pretty close to what I would believe. It's like, because we're gonna die, you know, it's like, I just want to have autonomy of how I treat people in this moment. I don't necessarily feel the presence of something else, and therefore not trying to, not chasing that feeling.
Is that scary or lonely ever?
No.
Never?
No.
So if you feel like it's all on your shoulders, what does that feel like?
I guess, it's for people, like they say, well, how does it feel to be the first or the only? If it's the only thing then it doesn't feel odd. It may appear odd to other people, but if it's the only thing I know, this is what I know. And
how did you feel when you were a Jehovah's Witness? How did you still feel that this isn't real?
Oh, yeah. I was really young, looking around and saying, oh my God, I don't believe this. I don't like, at first it was, and I know why my mom got in it. We've talked about it so much. She had recently lost her father, and she was looking for
a purpose,
something.
Yeah, something to
And she
anchor.
had 2 young children on her own, and they said, we're going to be we're a
family. Yeah, come on in here. Yeah.
And it was a lot of that. And I think there's some really interesting, good people that were part of it, but the process. So, but I remember one of the things we had to do was, as you probably know, we had to go door to door, and in our neighborhood where we went to school with people, and people would slam their doors in front of us, or they would prop me in front because I'm a little kid.
Baby, yeah.
And they would still slam the door. And I was
rough.
deathly afraid of dogs as a child, and so people would stick their dogs out there, and it was just terrible, but. So that was a little bit of like groundings for me to know like something that this is different than what my friends go through. And then as I started, like we'd have 4 meetings a week and then go door to door. Okay.
Yay.
So as I was in those meetings, I started to notice a few things. I noticed, even as a child, I noticed everybody who's speaking is a white man.
Boo.
Everybody who is an elder
Boo.
is a white man.
Boo.
And maybe there was one black guy, but he was sort of like, they're sort of saying what they were saying. Yeah, it was like, and I thought it was weird that women weren't allowed to give speeches. Like we could give talks, and women can give talks, and I don't know if it's changed at all, but they can give talks across the table from each other to teach a lesson, but they can't stand at a pulpit and talk. I don't know if that's the case in other religions, but
religions.
Yes. So anyway, so I definitely started I remember I was in the back of a car, and it was a Saturday because we were out in field service, and I was probably 10, maybe 11, and I remember thinking, I don't believe in God, and we're going around telling people about God. I remember just having that thought to myself. I said, oh, what am I going to do now? And then I spent, a couple more years in it, and didn't want to break my mom's heart. But honestly, going to that Janet concert, seeing what I saw, the same week I was in bed and I was crying, and my mom came in and said, why are you crying? And I'm like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to the church. It's called the Kingdom Hall. I don't want to go back.
This is what's funny to me as I'm listening to you talk. It sounds like your issue has been with religion.
Yes, it certainly has.
Right, because not God, because what you saw at the Janet concert was God in motion. That was God. That was God.
I'll tell you a couple of, another thing that is I see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying, and I think it's beautiful. I have to say, I think that thought is a beautiful thought, but it doesn't resonate on a deep level for me as being real. It feels like I'm so grateful that you feel that way. That's how I feel like people have found happiness. I'm so happy that they feel that. But one of the things, and again, this is one of the things I don't think I've talked about before, but it's like,
I'm getting all the tea. I'm getting it. Just go and pour the tea.
I think, this is your show now.
Yeah.
I think about the intricacies of life as a reason that I don't believe in God. I think if we were walking around as sort of stick figures, going back to your simulation theory, if we were walking around as less evolved, I think I would believe that a being said, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen. It's so intricate.
This is what's deep. He doesn't say that's going to happen, that's going to happen.
Okay.
He brings us here, and he lets us choose.
Right.
So it's not...
But he created all of life.
He created the space that we're in. He created the people that will populate it. But what happens here is free will.
No, I mean... there are amoebas. There are thousands of species of every bird. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Like, if we were walking around less evolved and there were maybe 10 species of total of anything, then I would say, okay, that sounds to me like someone who worked on a Sunday. Like who brought, I'm not trying to
But
be
look at it
all,
this way.
but-
Look at this way. Look at this way. This is, I hope this gives you another perspective.
Yes.
There are a lot of people that are in tech. There are a lot of people that are actors or whatever, but there's varying degrees of how much an individual will accomplish or be able to do. So I think, using your example, we're looking at, oh, how could one person or one thing have created all this stuff? There's people that look at you and go, how is she doing all of that in a day? It's based on this and this, what you accomplish here, right? Yeah. So if we can accept that in our humanness and understand that some people, like you look at even somebody like Beyonce or even Janet, like, do they have more than 24 hours in a day? The amount of content that they put out and what they're able to do, the way they're able to rehearse and put on these shows. So the idea that because it's intricate means there couldn't be a grand design, it kind of gets...
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
You know, because it all depends on the mind or the spirit of the person that did the creation. And this creator, we can't quantify or figure out the way this creator would create this grand design. Yeah. You know, he may be so creative that he's like, I'm going to make an amoeba that's at the bottom of the ocean that nobody will ever see. Yeah. But I know it's there and it's fabulous. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Light work for him.
Absolutely. Yes. That's the whole thing. And what I think about it, and this is not me, I never have tried to make anybody believe anything. We are all, the free will of it all is that we get to do what we want. The only way I would jump in and be like, Arlan, is if you were destructive to yourself or to others because you did not believe. Yes. Then I would go, oh, come on, girl, because we got to do better. Yeah. You know, but I feel like the only reason I would want it for you is because of those moments when it feels like all is lost. I know myself, and this is the way I was built, crumble if I felt that there was not a brighter day coming because there was a purpose for why I was here. The idea that we're all just here to just be here, you know? I mean, there's been times, like if I leaned into the fact that we're all just here to be here, if y'all think my Twitter page is crazy now, yeah. There are sometimes I'm typing something and the Lord go, don't you send it. You better not, you better edit it, delete it.
So this is you filtered.
Please, within my own power.
Oh my goodness.
I'm from East Cleveland. Yeah. My own power?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's, I'm 40, what am I? 40?
You baby.
Am I 41 or 42? I don't remember.
Baby.
I'm 42, thank you, Alfred.
Yeah.
42. And, it's been a lifelong journey, a 30-year question.
But you also have to remember, you came in under something that you called a cult.
Yeah.
Which means that, and you're very intelligent, which means that your brain told you something about this is wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it may have gotten conflated with the being that they serve or the being that they believe in or whatever. It kind of all got mixed together. The religion of it all got mixed together. My hope for you and anyone else is a spiritual relationship, not a religious one. If you never set foot in a church, you know what I mean? Just the idea of knowing that you can talk to him and he'll hear you. He's there for you. He has a plan for your life that you're already living. Yeah. You're already in the plan. He's been with you from birth. There's no way you could have gone to a concert at 13 and came out unscathed with front row seat experience without him being there walking with you every step of the way.
I see my brother shaking his head, yes.
Right? It literally is that thing. It's not the religion. Like, I really feel like at some point I am going to do a podcast or a post or whatever about it, because I feel like the traditions and the religion and that is not God. That is not the experience of God. That's not who God is. That's not how God moves. That's not how God loves. And I want everyone to be able to just have that quiet peace of knowing that someone that would create that amoeba in the ocean thought, we need an Arlan too. Yeah, this isn't done. I need an Arlan. And I'm going to put her in the world and she's going to do great things. And she won't know that I exist for a while. And that's okay.
43 years.
That's okay, because it's a blink of an eye. She may not know me yet. Oh, but the conversations we going to have when she does know I'm real. Ooh, I can't wait. That's the way that he loves us, and that's the way he roots for us, and that's the way he cheers for us. But religion will have you think different. Religion will have you think it's this. It's not that.
Can I ask you one last...
Ask me whatever you want.
Spiritual question.
Absolutely.
Do you believe that God has, or Jesus has a human form? Like, do you think the picture of the white man is Jesus?
Absolutely
not. Do you think, though, there is a form that is, do you think he's ethereal, or there's a form that's a black man
I feel
described in the
that
Bible.
if he was in wool and hair,
Yeah.
and in Egypt and around in there, then he's a black man. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Now, the Christian faith also teaches that there's three versions. Like there's God, the Creator, God, and then there's Jesus who walked on earth and was God and man, and then there's the Holy Spirit, right? So I feel like all of them are the Godhead, right? And whatever you need at any given moment, because I feel like it's the Holy Spirit going, don't post that on Twitter. The Holy Spirit be right here. Holy Spirit be like, doggone it, Yvette. Doggone it. Here we go again. You know what I mean? So it's just different. I think it's different. A different embodiment of this, the personage of him. So yeah.
And when we're speaking to, so I've learned a couple different ways about God and Jesus, the relationship, the Trinity. But God is, you believe that Jesus is a different form of God, but also Jesus is God's son. So
Well, when
both through
I
the
feel
same
like
time?
I'm not a Bible scholar, so I want to be clear on that.
Yeah.
But in my mind, when he was here on the earth, physical form, Son of God, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, again, going back to the religion part of it, religion makes you feel as if you don't get all of this stuff just right, that you might as well throw the whole baby away with the bathwater. And I believe, again, that God is a gentleman, and I believe that his kindness abounds and his love abounds, and he knows where we are on the journey, and that he extends grace so that we can figure it out. So whether you can wrap your mind around, now how he gonna be the child and now he the spirit, and it would, I don't think,
if I can semi-follow along the Marvel universe,
right,
I can certainly say that there is a little ambiguity.
And this is the thing, this is the other thing too about faith. Like the idea about faith is that it's things that you can't quite figure out. That's why
it's called faith.
That's why it's called faith, right? Some may say I told the story about being on the bus and seeing See Hope and whatever. Some people are like, oh girl, you could have seen 1,000 billboards. But I didn't see 1,000 billboards.
Yeah, you saw that.
And how many show placards did I pass that didn't register? But he told me, look over there. Oh my God, see, and it wasn't, the first couple things I saw didn't register because I was still like, right? But when I got to the old black man, talking about go high, I was all right, Lord, I get it now, doggone it. And when I tell you, everything got better from that moment. But the point is, everything was always going to get better because he's not a trickster, and I don't believe that he put us here for the purpose of suffering. We're here for the purpose of learning and of growing and of loving. And there may be moments of suffering. Oh, Yvette, you love the Lord. Why would he have your dad have dementia? So that I could learn patience. And that he could learn that he's loved no matter what form he's in. Because sometimes it's not your story. We go through life as if we're the star of the story, but sometimes you're a supporting player in somebody else's story. So that means you have to go through something so somebody can see you. And you're like, ah! But meanwhile, somebody is getting strength from the stuff that you're going through. So it's like, just relax.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
You're going to be all right. That's what he says. And I'm sorry you started with the wrong one. I'm sorry that the religion you were in was the wrong one for you with your big old brain.
Well, based on that, I was supposed to go through that.
There it is. Now see, that is the faith walk, where this is the thing, he wastes nothing. Everything is used. Every moment, every disappointment, every revelation is used. So I'm gonna put this baby in the Jehovah's Witnesses. She's gonna be with them dogs. They're gonna close doors, but she's going to learn. She's going to learn in that. Let me tell you something. That a closed door don't kill you. Because how many closed doors have you found in the tech world?
All of them. 99%.
So isn't it interesting that he had doors slamming in your face from birth?
I would not have been able to take the rejection I took to get to where I am if I
Shall we talk about grand design? Shall we talk about grand design?
Yeah. I
don't even say nothing else. Just go
and
put it in your pocket.
I appreciate the conversation about it, because most people, they can't even have the conversation because it challenges their beliefs so much. And I'm like, it's almost like I'm going to form this right now, so maybe a little sloppy, but it's almost like when someone is homophobic, it's like they're not comfortable in their own skin. That's why they can't have the conversation.
That's why they can't have the conversation. And you find out later that they just because they like the same too.
Yeah. But so sometimes when this comes up, I mean, it was harder to come out as an atheist in my adult life.
That's gay.
That's gay. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
because it's like you have a lot of people who are so disappointed. And also look at me different. Like look at.
But see, that's ego, though, Arlan. Like you don't have to believe like I believe. It's your life.
I can tell from you hope it for me.
I hope it for you just because I know the peace that it brings.
That's
right?
what I see. And I don't see a judgment. I see.
There's no judgment.
There's
no judgment at all. And I also am crazy enough to believe that we'll have this conversation 5 years from now, 20 years from now, and it'll be different. I've had a lot of conversations with atheists, and I've gotten calls later.
Yeah.
And I've had this exact conversation, not this exact because your situation is different, but I know the way God moves, and I know that He wastes nothing. And you're thinking, I'm going to have Yvette come in here, we're going to talk about community, and what are we talking about?
We're talking about this, yes.
See what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just, and I bob and weave and go wherever He calls me to go. Because listen, we still in the middle of COVID. I got a dad at home. I don't be gathering in small rooms with people.
Yeah.
But I knew I was supposed to be here on this day with you. And so I said yes. You see what I mean? So it's literally like I get deployed. I know what my call is. So I go where He tells me to go, and I do what He tells me to do. And it's always for the blessing of someone else. Always. I never leave a space where He told me to go where I'm like, well, why you send me there? I always go, oh, that's what it was for. You know?
Yeah.
So.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how we get back to music to money about this. I think we're going to wrap it up.
You going to wrap?
Yeah, I think we do because this has been fascinating. I'm probably going to put this on Demystifying Faith as well.
Let's do it.
Hi, y'all. Because this is the conversation.
Hey, y'all.
And I think your take on earlier on spending money the way you want to spend it for the lifestyle that you want, but given that gem of live one notch below.
One notch below.
I think when you haven't had a lot of it, it's really tempting to go notch above.
It is, but you know what? If you remember what it was like to not have.
Oh, yeah. Like, I will never, ever,
I don't ever want to go back. I don't ever want to go back.
Ever.
I don't ever want to go back. See, you see what I mean?
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen because you're like, I've seen that. I don't like it. And I know now what I can do. You know, listen, time and chance happen to us all. A hurricane could hit, an earthquake could knock our houses down, and we're all in our cars. I understand that. But anything that is within my power to do, and not balling out of control for the sake of people I don't know to think that I'm amazing. You know, I don't mind that people know I shop at Target and Macy's. You know what I mean? Or Goodwill. I go shopping at thrift stores and Goodwill and stuff. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. It's my ego isn't wrapped into people thinking that I am amazing. So it doesn't matter what car I drive or what purse I carry, or you know, if I'm at Punta Cana, I don't even know what that is. I think it's an island. It doesn't matter. You didn't know either. Somebody said they went to Punta Cana.
It sounds fancy.
It does, don't it? I don't go no place fancy. Yeah. So I don't care if they think that I'm the cool kid. I know that I'm not one of the cool kids, which makes me one of the cool kids.
Yeah. Hey, I went to bed at 8:30 last night.
Oh, you would have found me there. Mother's in bed at least by 9:30.
If it's not a Mavericks night,
it's like bye.
Yeah,
absolutely. I had a friend that came into town. We were talking about the Grammys. That a friend came in town. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to this party, whatever." I said, "Y'all have a great time." Great time. Only time I leave the house for short night is if Janet's, and we're going to hear a nice little bookend. If Janet's in town and I hear that she, come on out, we're going to hang, I'll go out and hang. But otherwise...
Janet will start something like 11 o'clock.
I don't know why Janet is so nocturnal. She's so nocturnal.
I'm looking at the time and I'm like,
I can't go.
It was 3 hours ago.
Wait, 11? I can't. I feel like Mother's in bed.
Yeah.
Mother loves you, but Mother's in bed.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. I wish you so much. I wish you so much prosperity and contentment and joy, and so much.
It's the same to you.
And I thank you for sharing so much of your life here and having this separate conversation with me. I do find a lot of value in it, and it's not something that changes overnight, but I do find value in the conversation.
Yeah, so and this is the thing. Everyone has an appointed time. Everybody does. And it's usually when you least expect it. it's like, oh, this is the moment where the light bulb, and it may not turn all the way on, but something been flicked. It's a slider. They just slid up a little bit. I saw it. It slid up a little bit today. So it's something to think about. And just again, the prayer is like, listen, if you want me to know who you are, just show me something. Show me something in a way that I, because you know me. So show me, if you know me like they say you know me, show me you in a way that only I would understand. And then just wait.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that wasn't a conversation, I don't know what
That was a good conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go think about a lot of stuff.
I love it.
That's what I'm gonna go do.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.